Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our Talking Story. As you know, we've been interviewing different individuals from communities of color, and we want to get to know them and get to know their stories. And mostly, we want to know why they're so passionate about their work in racial and social justice. And we've had some wonderful guests, and I'm so excited about our conversation today because we have two young people who I think you're going to really enjoy. I know you're going to enjoy. I happen to be watching an ABC program called Soul of the Nation, and it was the episode called Together as One, which featured Asian Americans. And one of the stories on that particular episode was of a young woman named Mina Fedor of Oakland. And when I heard her story, I just knew I had to reach out to her and get in touch with her and ask her if she'd be willing to come on Talking Story. And she responded right away and said yes. And she asked me if we could have other people on the interview as well, which I'm really happy. I was really happy to say yes to. And so we're joined by another one of the members of their organization. So in 2021, Mina founded AAPI Youth Rising. Of course, AAPI means Asian American Pacific Islanders. And she organized and founded this organization in response to the terrible rise of anti-Asian hate crimes. And Mina is the founder and executive director of AAPI Youth Rising. And the organization is run entirely by students, middle school students, and there's some high schoolers as well from across the Bay. And they also have some chapters all across the country. In May of 2021, the city of Berkeley awarded AAPI Youth Rising with a proclamation acknowledging their work in the community through youth action. And I know that word is getting around about them as they've been featured on the Today Show, in the Washington Post, Good Morning America, CBS Evening News, Teach for America, and many others. And one of their projects that I'm really excited about, which they'll share about a little later in our interview, is called One Day of AAPI History Lesson. And I think what they want to accomplish through this program is truly remarkable. There is more that I can say about these terrific young people, but I'm going to let each of them share their story and share their vision and their purposes for AAPI Youth Rising. So I'm going to just ask them to introduce themselves, to tell us why they got involved, what school they attend, and of course, what drew them into AAPI Youth Rising. And I'm going to begin by asking the founder and executive director, Mina Fedor, if you can introduce yourself and tell us why you got this all going.
So I am going into ninth grade, and I am going to be attending college preparatory high school next year. So excited about that. But the group was founded in May of or March of 2021, when we organized a rally actually in Berkeley. That was our first sort of action, and we just wanted to provide a platform for youth to share their voices and speak out on the issue, and also to provide a platform for, I guess, people in the community to generally unite together and heal as well. The rally took place only around 10 days or 2 weeks after the tragic shooting in Atlanta. So it was, I guess, really just sort of a healing time. And we wanted to provide that kind of thing. So that was our very first action. After that, we've just realized that youth can still make a big difference in their communities, and we can still have a lot of impact and reach. So we just kept going with our actions. And now we're here. It's been over a year, and we kept going. So, yeah.
Thanks, Mina. Max, how about yourself? How did you get involved?
Hello, everyone. I'm Maxwell Wong. I'm 15 years old. I go to Head Royce School in Oakland, California. I started getting involved with AAPI Youth Rising because I saw the rise in anti-Asian hate crimes. I really wanted to do something about it. So I was introduced to the rally by a friend And I first attended the rally not as part of the org, but just as an independent person. And I really liked what their message was and how they got the word out. So I really wanted to join them. And yeah, I started from there. My role now is a board member of AAPI Youth Rising, and also I manage projects and initiatives such as our 1 day of API history, which we'll probably get into later. And yeah.
Mina, I know there were some real personal reasons for you to get this started. Would you mind sharing about some of the personal reasons that AAPI Youth Rising was so important to you?
Yeah, for sure. I guess the main reasoning behind taking that first action, sort of that founding or forming the group, was just because I had me and my friends and my family members had been getting a lot of comments, and there were a few, I guess, sort of big, uh, I guess, incidents around race that happened to my family, and me and my friends that I just wanted to speak out about and um, let people know about because a lot of people didn't know about the issue, or a lot of youth didn't understand why some of these stereotypes facing AAPI were harmful. They were just like, "Oh, it's just a joke," but it can be really, really harmful. Even if you're not intending to harm, and if you are intending to harm, that's another thing to be discussed as well. So, I just wanted to, I guess, share more awareness on the issue at first, and speak out for those in my community.
Maxwell, have you experienced some anti-Asian hate or some bullying because of who you are? Or maybe witnessed it in family or friends?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I haven't really experienced anything super severe, like a big like violence or anything. But I definitely feel at school that I get microaggressions, like stereotypes, and a little bit of bullying. But I definitely heard of friends and family who have been attacked.
I know that I've shared this story with our listeners that right around the time that we were asked to shelter in place, I had an incident happen to me when I was at the drive-through window at a local Jack in the Box, and some fellow who was at the end of the driveway started yelling at me to go back to China, to go back where you came from. It's because of you that we're getting sick. And that was one of the first times that it's happened to me. And I've had a couple other incidents, the smaller ones too. So it's there, I think, for all of us, and it kind of shakes you, right, when it happens. And I'm so mindful of what's happening around us, and so glad that people like yourselves are willing to step up and do something about it. So Mina, I'd like to ask you, as far as some of the things that you started to do before AAPI Youth Rising started. What were some things that you actually did before you organized this wonderful organization?
You mean like the steps that I took before the rally, or yeah. Um, well, I guess the process was it was a little like I don't know, kind of all over the place because I didn't really know what I was doing, and neither did my friends or anyone really organizing or it. So, but basically, the idea was that the first time or the first idea we had was to like hang a sign over this on this footbridge that goes over a highway um, that gets a lot of traffic in the Bay Area, and we're hoping to like I don't know put a sign up there or something in support. I had seen like other climate activist things doing similar things like that and hanging signs up. So I was like, oh, that would be kind of cool. But as time went on, I reached out to more council members and community leaders and wanted them to speak as well. And then it sort of evolved into a rally and then a march afterwards. And we still had the original sign idea, which was really great. But the steps were mostly just, I don't know, reaching out to people to see if they wanted to invite the people or I guess invite any of their members or even speak there. And we wanted it to be very youth centered as well. Um, I had definitely read more about the Stop API Hate movement and all that. But I saw that a lot of it was head up by adults, and that's very important. I mean, everyone has an equal voice, right? But there's definitely, I thought there was a lot of space for youth representation as well, since it is impacting us. It's mostly impacting us and the elderly, um, and a lot of people in between as well. But youth get a lot of like bullying incidents, and AAPI especially have been targeted a lot recently for bullying. And then elderly obviously get attacked as well too. So I thought that there was a lot more room for youth to be speaking out as well, and a lot of space for that, or the space that could be created for that. So that was sort of the reasoning behind it and some of the steps we took. But it was all kind of all over the place. Wasn't the most organized, to be honest with you. I mean, I was 12 and I organized that, so it was like a bit much. And then I turned 13 shortly after. But yeah.
Are there any adults involved with your organization?
Well, obviously we do get a ton of support from our families, so they're very much, involved in giving us advice and I don't know, things like that. But it is all youth led for the moment. We don't have any active members. It is AAPI Youth Rising, so we do not have any current folks. Yeah.
How many members are on your board, and how
Yeah.
many schools are you engaged with?
I think we have. Well, Max is on the board. Do you know how many we have on the board right now?
I
I
think
don't
maybe
know.
like six.
Yeah, 6 or 7, I think,
Yeah, 6 of them.
on
That
the
makes sense.
board, and then we have like I think it's over 20 or 30 members ish for nationwide right now, just all together. But
I know that maybe you could help our listeners and talk about AB 101 and what that is and why it's so important.
I think that okay. So just a little bit of background behind that. AB 101 was a bill that went into effect in October of last year, I believe. Yes, last year. And it's mandating ethnic studies in California for the year 2029. Sounds like a far off way, and it kind of is. I mean, probably like 21 or 22 when it's mandating. So it's quite a little bit of ways, but basically it mandates ethnic studies as a graduation requirement for all high schoolers in California, which is a really big step in the right direction to, I guess, sort of promote the teaching of diverse histories, and mandating that is especially good under law. And a lot of schools are doing that on their own as well. A lot of school districts are implementing that on their own. The Bay Area has been especially good about that. But it's really great to see mandates like that. There have also been several other mandates around the country mandating specifically Asian American history to be taught, which are also very important. We supported several of those. And yeah, it's just really important to see and learn more about Asian American history in general, because it is so undertaught and underrepresented within any typical American classroom. And we're especially lucky in the Bay, having such a big AAPI population and all that, and such a diverse area. But it's not like this in the rest of America. So, there's not a lot of representation there, and it needs to be taught because Asian American history is American history, and the history of people of color belongs in typical American classrooms all over the United States. So, that's basically what's going on there. But we were one of the partner groups for AB 101, and we try our hardest to support any legislative action promoting Asian American history or the ethnic studies in general. So yeah.
Maxwell, maybe you could speak to what transpired from all of that and the one day of AAPI history. Tell us about that and what you're all hoping to do with that program.
Yeah, so sorry. We saw that it was going to take a long time for these bills to come into effect, so we really wanted to take action by ourselves. And we thought of ideas, and we finally came on this lesson plan that we can teach to schools across America, both virtually and in person. We've done a couple in Los Angeles, virtually, online, and in Silicon Valley. So it's basically a lesson plan that's about 60 minutes long. It goes over crucial concepts about API history in America, like the Chinese Exclusion Act. And we also celebrate some API heroes at the end. Yeah.
How many schools do you think you've been into already with the program?
Maybe like 10, I think, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know the exact number, but yeah, somewhere around 10. Yeah.
I understand that you actually taught this at the Cameron House in Chinatown.
We did, yeah.
I've been in touch with our youth directors at the church, and I've asked if they might be interested. So they're looking over your website. Wonderful. What other kinds of programs do you get involved in and are planning?
We have the 180 pledge, if you've heard of that before. It's our pledge to ensure one day of the school year is dedicated to API history. So that's another initiative that we started about a year ago too.
And you had an art show or art festival or something, as I recall.
Yeah, that was actually the same time that AB 101 went into law. Kind of coincidence there, but yeah, it was the our Diverse Voices Youth Art Show, and we showcased over 40 youth art submissions from around the Bay Area. And they were all about what diversity means to you and all in support of teaching diverse histories and classrooms. So that was another big action.
Are there some other programs that you all are thinking about for the future?
We're not really sure. I think we're really considering maybe filming the lesson plan so we can release it to more schools. But that requires like a big commitment and a big team to film it. Yeah.
Mm. No. How can youth get involved with your organization?
It's really easy. You can just like fill out our Google form and we'll get in touch with you, and you can just yeah, and we have lots of speaking opportunities and other opportunities for volunteering.
What do you mean speaking opportunities?
Like podcast opportunities like this, and also presentation opportunities like the one day of API history. We recently had one of our younger members, Ethan, who's I think 7th grader. He spoke for the first time at Cameron House, and that was really amazing. He was really good too.
Mm. Now, what are chapters? I know you have chapters across the country. What are they? And what are your ambassadors?
Well, essentially, we're inviting anyone and everybody who's youth in API to come and sign up to be either a chapter leader, where you sort of make your own chapter of AYR wherever you are, which basically means few meetings and you commit to taking one big action, or sorry, one little action um, throughout the year. That could be anything like, I don't know, making some sort of blog post, or I don't know, working out some sort of campaign, anything. It could be a lot of things, your action, but that is what we are looking for. And for the ambassadors, they agree to teach the one day of AAPI history lesson in their school. And yeah, and then you can just join to be regular member as well, wherever you are. But yeah, we're offering that out. It's pretty easy. We've onboarded quite a few in the past few months once that form opened up. But yeah, that's what we're doing so far, and we're trying to make it as easy as possible to get involved and to just sort of sign up.
So the chapters are mostly in schools?
Yeah, in schools, or just in your city, in your area in general. Yeah.
I know that you are as far as Texas. I understand there's a chapter in Texas.
As far as Maryland, actually,
Oh,
I
Maryland.
looked at it on a map because we were trying to figure out like regional lead positions. So there's one person in Maryland, so we go to there. Yeah. I don't know. Interesting, funny little statistic, but I just found that out. Yeah.
Uh, have you drawn any interest from youth in Hawaii by any chance?
Well, no one's applied yet, so if they were to apply, we would be very happy to accept and chat with them and get them involved in the group. But I don't know, maybe.
Well, when I retire to Hawaii next year, I'll make sure that word gets around about you.
Well,
Um,
that's a great place to retire. Yeah.
it is. It's my home, so I'm looking forward to that. So I wonder if you could, one last thing, maybe share with our listeners what is one or two things that you really want us to take home about your purposes and about what you're doing.
Max can add to this one after, but just that we're a youth group trying to make change. Try to also inspire other youth to do the same and um, reach out in their communities as well. And that anyone can really do this kind of thing if you have like time. That's a big one on your hands. And it might seem scary, like the public speaking thing, especially, but it's not that terrifying in the end. I think it's very rewarding. So.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really want to hammer home on the inspiration point. We really want to inspire other youth groups and youth in general to mobilize and make change like we have. I think that's a big part of our organization, leading the way for other youth to get involved.
Well, that's really terrific. I'm so thankful that you were able to join me today, and I look forward to maybe having other conversations with you and quite possibly have one of you or someone else on your board come out and meet with our youth. A lot of our youth attend the schools around the area, Akalani's High School or Miramonte, Camp Lindo, and some of the middle schools out here. So we look forward to more conversations with you both. So thanks again. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay. Have a great evening. All
you
right.
too.